Start the recording for YouTube. Professional streamer, I do swear I am a professional streamer. Anyway, we have plenty of time. Kick back, have a coffee, get a drink, kick your feet up, maybe deal out a game of solitaire for yourself before we start coming to the end of this mile-long straight into this fast right-hander. Very easy if the car's not balanced right to end up looping it. And then into this very tricky double right-hander. It actually tightens right about now. And really got to sort of balance the car, try and get it to oversteer a little bit there, but not too much. Into another one of these tightening corners that seem to go on forever. And, well, we're coming up to the final two corners. This track really is characterised by its long, sustained cornering. And, well, did I mention track limits? Expect a bit of frustration in the Discord after this one, because track limits is a huge issue around here. Susanna moves up to 6th in practice, so well done to Anthony. As you see, the number 7 Bentley make its way through turn number 1 again. As you can see, just a little bit of understeer, maybe carrying a little bit too much pace through turn number 1, and that sort of cuts off his entry to turn number 2. So in real life, the drivers have to be very careful of these curves. In fact, let's have a look at some of the profile of these curves. You can see they're actually quite brutal curves in real life, along with sausage curves and this little corner marker, which usually doesn't last very long in most races, but as you can see, got a couple of cars just clattering over the curbs here. So in the Paul Ricard, I believe it was 12 hours, drivers had to be very careful of the curbs, otherwise they were damaging components on the car. But let's have a look at some of the more key points of this track. So turn number 1, it's pretty crucial at most circuits, but here it is incredibly crucial. To be starting off the inside line isn't always an advantage, because straight away you're on the outside for turn number 2. So if someone is brave enough to hang it around the outside, and with all this exit space here, they are likely to do so. It's important to try and keep your spatial awareness about you and your wits going towards turn number 2, because it's very easy to have a bit of contact and send yourself spinning out of control off onto the, what would you call that, red paint there. Very odd how they've decided to decorate this circuit. Turn number 3, good passing opportunity. I do expect to see a couple of dive bombs here. But once again, you've got to make sure you make it clean. There's a bit of contact. Might send someone off the track. In fact, let's just go to blank for now while we talk through the circuit. And also, this is one of the corners, very troublesome for track limits in practice and qualifying. Very much rage-inducing. It seems to be, unless Kunos has updated it, it seems to be very, very random. Like you put a wheel just a little bit off that sawtooth, and you get a track cut. And the same for this section here. Run a little bit over that sawtooth curbing, you get a track limits. Okay, moving on. This turn here, it's deceptively hard to get right. It looks simple on paper. It looks simple. On screen. But the natural tendency of the car is to understeer before we head down this straight into this very fast right-hander. Very easy to make a mistake. We did see in the real Blancpain series, I think it was a Bentley, an Audi and a Ferrari got together. Very scary crash into this tyre barrier. I think it wrote off both the Audi and the Ferrari. The Bentley managed to get away, but I think, well, I mean, I'm pretty certain that they got a very big pen handed to them. Again, as I said in the onboard lap, this track is really characterised by long sustained cornering. So I do expect tyre wear to be fairly high for this circuit. So strategy is going to be quite key, and also driving style. So you see this part of the circuit, it is, even though it's slightly banked, it's a lot of pressure and a lot of heat going into that left front tyre as they make their way through. Might get a little illustration of it there. So you're asking a lot of the tyres around this circuit, and the same for this corner here, because swap sides and it's the right hand front that's copping it. So I do expect that tyre wear will be rather high for tonight's race. And let's actually go back to the garage and have a look at what we have lined up for you tonight. So after this practice session, we move into qualifying. 15 minutes for our field to go out and set their best time possible before we move into the first 1 hour race with a mandatory pit stop in there. Then we go into a practice session where drivers can just go out there, make sure they got something dialed in if they've stuffed the pit stop up, stuffed something up. And then we move into the second qualifying session. You notice 6 minutes. That's long enough for each driver to get 1 lap in and 1 lap only. So quick fire shootout session right there. Looking forward to seeing that one underway. Then we move into the final race, which will take place at 2 o'clock game time. Race 1 taking place at 4 o'clock game time. So, well, we got a little bit to look forward to tonight. But right now it is Ryan Houlihan. He's currently in the pit lane. So let's try and find our man here. That is not the man we wanted. That is not going to plan. So here we go. So Ryan Houlihan, the number 912 Porsche. He went pretty well. It was actually right up there with Bakita at the last round. And if you do remember that, if you don't remember that, quickly head over to our YouTube channel and look up the last round. It was quite an entertaining battle between, so let's bring up our HUD again, between Houlihan and Bakita. Bakita, I haven't seen Philippa in the server just yet, but I imagine that Bakita will make an appearance. But if not, Houlihan should expect to be kept honest by the likes of Hewitt and O'Hara. And there's a lot of talented drivers out there, so we'll wait and see what happens. Tiggy 3. Stupid question as it's a sim, but any good on a controller? Mate, I would not have a clue. I have never tried it on a controller. I think a few people have said it's okay on the controller, but me, I have not tried it on a controller. So try and find someone. As I see, we have a supporter in the chat there. Kitty, let's go Jay Walter. So Jeremy Walter. I don't think we've seen Jeremy in the AK series yet. So someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this would be his debut in the AK Gaming series. We're right on board with Jeremy right now in the 999 Lamborghini. So he makes his way up. Ooh, a bit of oversteer. Very easy to do in the Lamborghini, of course, being mid-engined. And almost the same, actually I think it is the same floor plan as the Audi. Just a different engine. We'll see what speed he gets up to, up down this mile-long straight. 275, 276. Yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. I do believe that the cars to watch down the straight will be the Bentley and the GTRs. See 2 GTRs in the server at the moment and 2 Bentleys as well. And the Aston Martin's also not too bad in the straight line as well. So keep an eye out for those Astons, Nissans and Bentleys. And also should probably throw it out there for the BMW as well. That thing's pretty swift in a straight line once it gets wound up. And also thank you to Tiggy for the follow. Appreciate it, mate. Hope you enjoy the broadcast tonight. So Walter does his best lap of 1:57.2. That bumps him up to 8th. Still got a long way to go. 1.6 seconds to Houlihan, but of course, if it's any consolation to Jeremy, Houlihan is a bit of an alien. So let's try and find someone who is... There he is. Looking for this man here because I noticed he jumped up to second, just 3/10 off of Houlihan's time. We'll see if he can better his own lap that time by. No, I think he obviously made a mistake somewhere on that lap. Makes his way through turn number 1 and 2. Gets it nicely over the curbs. A little wide, that will be a track cut, unfortunately. And he knows it, so he's going to go in. Well, let's keep an eye on this guy here because he's languishing down in 7th at the moment, 1.2 seconds. And it looks like he's got Susanna just in front of him in the Bentley or the Boatley, whatever you prefer to call it. Also, just occurred to me that I haven't introduced myself. For those of you new to our streams, my name is Matt Nipris from Go Race Promotions. Hope you enjoy tonight's coverage of the AK Gaming ACC Sprint Cup. So we continue to follow O'Hara down this massive long straight. Honestly, kick back, get yourself a drink or something, make a cup of tea while going down that straight. It's so long. So we'll take a bit of a ride on board with O'Hara. He had a really good run last time out at the Nürburgring. He was up there battling with Bakita, Houlihan and Izzat Farr. And it was absolutely a thoroughly entertaining race between himself and the 3 other drivers. As he's going to back up a little bit, give himself a bit of space between Susanna. Now he winds up the big BMW. Not quite the original thick boy of GT3. That's certainly a big boy, nonetheless. Brett Mabry, thank you for joining the stream. So for AK Gaming, they generally have their race events on Wednesday and Sunday nights, and they alternate between Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione. I believe they have a couple of leagues running in Assetto Corsa, but for Go Race Sim Sports, we run on Thursday nights. And we're also about to end one of our leagues, our first ever league in sim racing, this Thursday night at Bathurst, and then we'll be starting a brand new league in Japanese Super GT. So if anyone's interested in that, let us know. We'll send you the link to our Discord and you can get involved on that. And Brett, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. Black Spades, another Jeremy Walter fan. There's a lot of you out there in chat tonight. It's good to see. As we follow O'Hara, he's about to finish his first flight. In fact, he's going to box it. So that's one of two things. Either he was super unhappy with the lap, or he was super happy with the lap and just did not want to ditch the concrete bags of cement just yet. So O'Hara back into the pit lane. So Stefano Riccardi, saw him running around in the GTR last time round at Nürburgring. Houlihan sandbagging again. There's a lot of sandbagging going on. Bunnings must be out of their sandbags right by now, surely. As we see Stefano Ricciardi running around again in the Team RJN GTR. Andy O in the chat, second option sounds preposterous. No, you would never ditch those bags of concrete ever. I know. Good to see that Ricciardi has stuck with the GTR. I mean, I'm biased. Full disclosure, I'm biased. I'm a Nissan fan. But it's a potent car. It's a potent car. We got Mia puns already in the chat. Hoping to see Mia Rose back in sim racing soon. We're definitely missing Mia in our events. I hope things are improving for Mia. Nonetheless. Well, we can see that's... Oh, hang on. Here's someone that we should be following. Brian Izzat-Farr. He had an absolutely fantastic race last time out at the Nürburgring. Of course, that three-way epic battle between himself, Houlihan, and O'Hara. That was something amazing to behold. And once again, we have a little bit of time, so if you haven't seen it, head over to our YouTube channel and check it out quickly. Go to the end of the race, that three-way battle. It was absolutely amazing. Certainly a huge plus for Go Race Promotions with that kind of coverage and content. Okay, that's interesting for me. I honestly hope all the best for her. Doing the SimGrid All Girls Racing. Haven't heard of that. I'll have to have a quick look. Big prize, huge field. Oh, okay, fascinating. Okay, GT4 Championship. Okay, that seems a little. Yeah, okay. No, it's bloody good. It's good. All the best to him. All the best to Mia. But would like to see her back here in this server. So as we have obviously gone into driver's briefing with no action on track. So let's have a quick swing around our field. So we have the number 377, if I'm not mistaken. That is Ryan Hizadfar. Keep an eye on this guy. He's going to be quick in qualifying. He was absolutely lightning fast at the Nürburgring. He started at the back for race 1 and managed to carve his way through the field to score a top 5, but I think he made a mistake pushing the pit window to the absolute limit, and he missed out by about 10 seconds. So that got him I believe it was a 3-minute penalty. So not only did he do the pit stop, but he copped a penalty as well. Let's get rid of that as we take a look at the rest of our field. Actually, I'm going to need that back because I don't know all the drivers' numbers, so that's a little bit embarrassing. There we are. So number 87, that's Phillips. He's up there in the top 5 for practice. 7/10 off of Houlihan. That's not something to turn your nose up at. That's a good effort. Houlihan is a very, very hard competitor, and if you're within a second, you're doing pretty well. Moving on, 999, Jeremy Walter. Already got a few fans in chat, so no pressure, Jeremy, but you do have a lot of eyes on you apparently. So yeah, hope you go well, mate. Andy O'Hara, of course, you'd have to. You'd be very brave to bet against this guy. He's always at the front, very smooth, very clean driver. He is going to be one of the drivers to beat. Let's hope we get a repeat of that Nürburgring round, because that was amazing racing, and I'm still just thinking about it is quite nice. Let's just leave it at that. Oh God, that's terrible. All right, Ryan Houlihan, currently top of the practice session. Well, again, he was another one of the drivers that took part in that 3-way battle between himself, Izadfar, and O'Hara. Houlihan, I think from memory, he just missed out on, I think it was second. I think Izadfar managed to hold him off only just, but it was an amazing battle, and looking forward to seeing a repeat of that. We got Hemi Bateman in the Nissan GTR. He hasn't set a time. He's probably one of the drivers that keep on running afoul of the very, very strict track limits here at Paul Ricard. But the all-black Nissan GTR, can't go wrong with it. It should be pretty strong around Paul Ricard. It's got some mighty legs on it, that's for sure. 425, that'd be Matty Hewitt in the Aston. Again, another car that's got some pretty good legs on it, but the Aston really does struggle at the starts of races and doesn't seem to punch off corners as well as the other cars on the grid. However, once it stretches its legs, it is a very quick car. So keep an eye on it down the Mistral Straight. All right, moving on, 185. Let's have a look at our entry list. Chris Munro, of course, Chris Munro. We know him very well at Go Race Promotions with his antics in the AK V8 Supercar Series. It looks like he's about to go out and do some laps, perhaps the car coming off the jacks. Running the Bentley, second favourite GT3 car for me. Got a lovely rumble, lovely exhaust note. And certainly a car that I think is a little bit underrated in GT3. 925. See if we can't find him. Alex Spinozzi tends to come good at the end of races. So if he just gets his qualifying right tonight, he should be in with a shot to at least match the pace of the guys at the front. So keep an eye on the Spinozzi, one half of the spinning torpedo team. 51, we have James Honor. in the Audi R8. He had a struggle of a race 2 at the Nürburgring, but hopefully he'll be able to bounce back tonight and score a decent result and get his championship back on track. We got a bit of a break here before we head over to Joshua Lynn. Of course, we were trying to follow him as he headed out the gate. Another driver who had a bit of a struggle at the Nürburgring, but hopefully he's obviously back, keen to have another go, keen to take on the likes of Ahara and Houlihan. So we'll definitely keep an eye on him. He gets involved in some pretty good battles in the mid-pack. 99, it's Matt Cotter, the other half of the Spinning Torpedo team. Of course, he and Alex Spinozzi did really well at the endurance event at Bathurst, running the Aston Martin as usual. Again, same thing with the Astons. Struggle off the corners, but they stretch the legs nicely, and they are lightning fast down the straight. So keep an eye on the 99. He's very quick as well. Susanna, currently 9th in the session, running a Bentley. Bentley's a strong down the Mistral straight. And Susanna he's a very solid driver, I have to say. Seems to be able to pick all the right spots to avoid accidents. So keep an eye on him at the end of 1 hour of racing. Ricciuti, currently 3rd in the session. And one of the other GTRs in the field, and GTRs, of course, probably one of the fastest cars in a straight line for GT3. I think they have been nerfed a little bit in the game. Whatever. It's still a pretty quick car, especially once you get into the slipstream, so do not ride off the GTR at all. 911, Jamie Starrett. He is another one who had a shocking round at Nürburgring. Got involved in, I think, just about every single accident on the track, but he's a strong racer nonetheless. Just had a bit of bad luck at the Nürburgring, so keep an eye on him as well. And that rounds out our 15-car field at the moment. Not sure if we're expecting to see any other driver enter the server. But, let's have a quick look around this this facility. We'll fly around. We've got a bar there. That's good. Can we go into the bar? Oh, it's a cafe. Never mind. See if we can't find something amusing around here. Have we got a museum in there? No, there's nothing in there. Got to say that Kunos has done a fantastic job modelling these circuits. We're just waiting for the start of qualifying. So the drivers are just about wrapping up with their drivers' briefing. So let's get some early picks for qualifying. Who's your pick for pole position? Who's your pick for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th? Let's get a top 5 happening. Oh, there we go. So we're on to qualifying right now. Let's head on to drive. We have Josh Lynn. Let's try and find someone who gets on track first. And it is Andy O'Hara who's on track first. So here we'll have clear circuit for 15 minutes of qualifying. So, of course, these drivers, they miss out on couple of minutes just on the out lap, but you only really need one lap. Get it done in one lap or don't get it done at all. I think that's how the saying goes. So let's see, who's going to dump the sandbags early? We've got one right now, Andy, Houlihan, Spinozzi, Cotter and Phillips. That's a good top 5. Now let's get some more predictions, don't be shy. Hit me with everything you got. I want to hear it. We got Jeremy 999 from M Kitty. You got to come up with 4 other drivers now. So let's get the qualifying session underway as Andy O'Hara goes with a late apex onto the front straight and starts the clock. So this guy is known as the Alien. He's known as the Alien for a reason. Sounds like he's got some traffic ahead of him. Looks like one of the GTRs was a little bit slow coming out of the pits. In fact, there's a car off to the side there. I think that was one of the pink Astons of Spinozzi and Cotter. Let's jump on board with O'Hara through this right-left. This guy is, well, he's an alien. He's so consistent, so smooth. Very, very quick as well. Fires it onto the Mistral straight. Love to be able to see what speed he is getting up to. We're going to have to break in one of my own rules about broadcast, but go into one of the in-game cameras. Gets up to 275, 280. So 282 k's per hour down the Mistral straight. That is moving. We'll quickly move back to a broadcast camera. This is looking rapid already. So I know that Houlihan in practice he set a 155, I think it was. I think it was actually a 154. My memory's not that good anymore. Zahara now swings the massive BMW around the final corner. Punches it there out of the final corner, winds it up. What does he stop the clock at? He's going to go to the top, obviously. A 154.6. So O'Hara firing the first shots. Wait and see what everyone else can do. Phillips with about a second off the pace. Hewitt into third. So Brad 155.5. So yeah, I'd say the sandbags are off the O'Hara wagon already. Wait and see what Houlihan can do. Let's see if we can't find Ryan Houlihan. What do you know, straight away. So, just trying to pick where he is. He's still on his first lap. So Houlihan a little bit slow coming out. As we see, Starrett slides into third position. Raschuti now into third. He bumps Starrett back down to fourth. We're waiting to see what Houlihan can do as he's down the Mistral straight. We'll see what speed the Porsche is getting up to. Getting 273, 74, 75. Oh, it's stalling at 74, 75 now. So it's a good 7 or 8 k's per hour slower down the Mistral straight than the BMW. Had a bit of a tank slap going through the fast right-hander. Chris Munro now up to second. Bumps Phillips down to third. So we'll see what Houlihan can do. Now that the sandbags are off all the cars now. Houlihan goes for a bit of a late apex on the second last corner. That gives him a much straighter entry into the final corner. And he will stop the clock. In fact, he does not set a time. He must have, that must have been his outlap actually. A 3 minute 29. So Houlihan, we're still waiting for him to actually set a time. Izzad Farr still in the pits. He has not left yet, so that's interesting. We're going to follow Matt Hewitt. He does a 1:57. He must have got a track warning, track limits there on that lap, because he did do better, but he hasn't improved on the leaderboard. As someone's just moved in there. I think that was Susanna. Trying to find who it was. It might have been Jeremy Walter sliding into 9th position. 1:57.1. So it's really tight from 5th down to, well, really from 2nd all the way down to 10th. It's just that one freak lap by Andy O'Hara in the 54s. So hoping to see some pretty tight battles in the midfield. Still waiting on seeing what Houlihan can stop the clock at. A bit of an oversteer moment halfway through this right-hander. So we now ride on board with the 912 Porsche. He's got a lot of mid-corner oversteer at the moment with this qualifying setup. That'll be costing him a little bit of time. He'll set his first time. It's a 1:55.8, so a lot of ground to make up on Andy O'Hara. He's got 7 minutes to do it. So he clatters over the curb at turn 2. I'm going to try and find Izzad Farr. There he is. So he's about to start his first lap. Just saw that Izzad Farr left the pit lane. He's left it to 6 minutes to go to start his very first lap. He's not really giving himself much margin for error on his laps. So we jump on board with the Aston. Just see how unstable the car is. You can see the wheel movements. Izzad Farr's really battling the car. A little bit unstable in the rear end under brakes, even under this traction. We'll see what he's got for his traction control. TC3, TC2 at 3, ABS at 1. No ABS at 3. Red as map. You'd think after doing a full season, well, probably half the season in the Aston Martin with Octane, I probably would know this. Starting to see the times tumbling. Chris Munro and Ricciardi are now almost within a second of O'Hara. Well, Munro is actually within a second of O'Hara's time. That was very close to track limits, I reckon, for Izzad Farr. Very deep under brakes for Izzad Farr. Certainly has a lot of confidence with the Aston Martin's braking capabilities, and I have to say it is a very stable car. That is one thing I do love about the Aston. Rotates it around the final corner and set his first time. And he goes up to second. Half a second off O'Hara, not quite in the 54s, so only one driver in the 54s at the moment. That is Andy O'Hara. Dog stole my car. Any Lexus drivers in there? Mate, not yet. Hope to see some. I think there are a couple of Lexus drivers in the AM grid. Unfortunately, we're unable to cover that as that's also happening right now. So we'll jump on board with Izzat Farr and we'll see what speed the Aston can get up to. I'm expecting about 270, 78, maybe 280. .276, 277. Not quite 278, so that BMW of O'Hara is lightning quick down the straights at 283 kilometres per hour. He is going to be very hard to catch in the race. Just going to have a quick look at some of their predictions. So far, David pretty close at the moment with he's got one man right. He's got two right, so that's not too bad. Is that far now? Sets a is now a 10th off Bahara's time. Bahara is actually back on track, so wait and try and find him. There he is. So he's I believe this will be his out lap. Have enough time to set another lap. Oh my gosh, I just looked at the track temperature. Whopping 44 degrees Celsius. That is boiling hot, that track. In fact, it's boiling hot out there at the moment, 34 degrees. Well, that's it, David. No prizes for winning in practice. So here comes O'Hara. On go the headlights. So he's serious this time. Knowing the high beams are on, that driver is serious. So tips it into turn number 3. It's plenty of curb. Nice and smooth. Jump on board with him for this lap, for the remainder of this lap, I should say. Does have a little bit of traffic up ahead, but he's far enough behind that shouldn't be a problem on this lap at least. This will be his last attempt as well, as the clock ticks down to 30 seconds to go. No, he runs very wide. Not sure. Oh, he's still on it, so it obviously hasn't invalidated the lap. So that's it, end of qualifying. Checkered flag is out. We've got a few cars out there still turning laps as we follow Andy O'Hara's final lap as he comes towards the final corner. It's looking good. 54.4, that's the prediction. 54.5, close. Close, David. Very, very close. Still, you wouldn't be scoffing at that. So Honey's actually decided to call it there. Let's see, Ryan Houlihan, he's languishing down in 6th position. Again, that bit of mid-corner oversteer for the Porsche. Manages to catch it. Again, car just rotates a little bit too much, I think, for Houlihan's liking. Into the final corner, we'll see what Houlihan can dig out of the box. And it's good enough for 3rd, so Ryan Houlihan will sit on 3rd position. See if anyone else is on track. Matty Hewitt, the 425 Aston. See if he can improve his time. He does not improve. And that is the end of the session. So let's try and find your pole sitter. We'll find him eventually. There he is. So Andy O'Hara is the pole sitter for race number 1. Let's go drive straight away. So this is your field. We'll try and bring up a leaderboard. In fact, we'll just fly away. No, we won't. So Andy O'Hara puts it on pole position. Next to him will be Brian Izzad-Farr. And then on 3rd position is Ryan Houlihan. It looks like Nürburgring take 2. So get ready for another good race. Go and get yourself a cold drink right away, or get yourself a warm drink, whatever you prefer, as this is going to be a brilliant race. These guys were all over each other at the Nürburgring, and now here they are again, 1, 2, and 3. Next to Houlihan will be Chris Munro in the Bentley, and rounding out the top 5 will be Stefano Risciuti in the Nissan GTR. Out of 6th position, we have Phillips in the Ferrari, while Alex Spinozzi and James Honner make up row number 4. Row 5, we have the 911 of Jackson Starrett, and then Matt Cotter in the 99 Aston Martin. And that rounds out our top 10 as well. P11 and P12, we have Matty Hewitt and Anthony Cesana. And then on 13 and 14, we have Joshua Lynn and Jeremy Walter in the 999. And then at the back of the field, we have Hemi Bateman in the 426 Nissan. A little bit off the pace, but I think he got hit with a couple of track cuts as well. So let's swing back to the front of the grid for the start of the formation lap. Here we go. Let's get some more predictions. Top 5 for the race. Let's go. It's going to be hard to go past the 3 of O'Hara, Izzad-Farr, and Houlihan, but turn 1 is a bit chaotic because we have a few cars a bit slow off the line there. So this is our pole sitter, Andy O'Hara, and that's what's behind him, a very angry looking black and purple Aston Martin. See that O'Hara, I think he's in fuel saving mode already, so he's running it very, very tight on fuel. Hear him, his car's almost idling. He's in 6th gear. Knocks it back to 5th for us. Thanks, Andy. Brian Izzad-Farr. They really took it up to O'Hara in the previous round at the Nürburgring. Can he do the same again? It's within 2/10 of O'Hara's lap time, so well, he can do it. He's got the pace, he's got the ability as well. He's got the racecraft as well. It was really good battling between himself and Houlihan and O'Hara. And Izzad-Farr also has the benefit of not starting the race at the back of the field for race number 1 for a change. So This car we've got to keep an eye on. Ryan Houlihan, do not count this man out. He is quick in that push. Didn't look quite so stable in qualifying, but he was the fastest in practice and doing 155s in race trim. I reckon he was in race trim for the practice session as the field gets ready to move into double formation. So Alex Spinozzi, expect this guy to move up through the field. He is very good at racing, much better racer than qualifier, it seems. He's got a, well, that's his view right there. Lots of cars in front of him, although not too far when you look at it from the front of this pack. Let's go back to our leaders. In fact, we're going to swing quickly over to the start-finish line and get ready for a start. So you can just see the field making their way around the second last corner. They are ready to go. Not willing to waste any more time. They want to get into it. So we've got any predictions for a first lap, first corner send? They're looking a good formation. A little bit sloppy at the back. We are set for a start. Massive gap between Honor and Phillips. We are set for a start. And we are away and racing. Izzad Farr gets a good jump. O'Hara lagging at the start. In fact, he's going to lose positions to both Munro and Houlihan. So Izzad Farr looks like he'll get the whole shot into turn number one. Will they get through turn number one nicely? They were 3 wide. They've managed to just pull it into single file. We see a good little battle there. Jeremy Walter just edging out one of the Porsches. I think that was the 911 of Jackson Starrett. So, well, O'Hara's dropped backwards. Izzad Farr's got a great lead already. You can see it stretching out to over 5 car lengths. Chris Munro in the 185 Bentley. He's just proving to be a little bit of a cork in the bottle, but he should be right to hold off Houlihan for now. As we see Ricciuti, he's managed to make a move on the exit of that hairpin on Andy O'Hara. We'll see what legs the BMW has over the Nissan. Nissan, not a slowed car in a straight line, already up to 255 kilometres per hour. He's got the slipstream as well, so O'Hara's actually just breezed past him. He's now down the Mistral straight. So O'Hara back up into 4th position ahead of Ricciuti. Oh, look at them, they're all running super wide, stupidly wide. Some of them needing their pass to get back into the circuit. As Ricciuti sideways, he's going to lose a position to a Spinozzi. Spinozzi says thank you very much and moves up into the top 5. So next one will be Simon Phillips at 7. So he's looking particularly racy on the back of Ricciuti already. See O'Hara is actually all over the back of Houlihan just ahead. Are we going to see a send here? No, he thinks about it, but he pulls out of it. We've also got a nice little battle just brewing back here. Well, I thought there was. I thought that looked a lot closer on the timing screen. See this nice battle pack forming at the back of the field. Right now we have a battle brewing for the last step of the podium. Andy O'Hara missed the start. He got mugged big time at the start. BMW just not firing up, not spooling up that turbo. Just got absolutely eaten alive by the field on the way down to turn number 1. That was the camera I wanted. There we go. So he's right on board with Houlihan. He's looking at the front of this BMW, and the speed advantage of the BMW over the Porsche should make this pretty easy pickings for Andy O'Hara. We're halfway down the Mistral straight. So O'Hara will pull out of the slipstream and take the position. So Andy O'Hara back onto the podium. Next man on his list will be Chris Munro. Chris Munro actually pulling away from these guys. So Munro has found something with the Bentley for this round. Has he got an answer for Brian Izzad Farr? Actually, I'm just going to swap back to this battle here. I'm seeing a three-way battle starting to brew here. We have Stefano Rasciuti is just holding up Phillips and Cotter. That might bring Honor into the battle as well. Oh, Phillips hard on the brakes. It's going to cost him a little bit of exit speed. And Cotter just not able to latch onto the back of the Ferrari. Ladders over the turn 2 curb. It's going to cost him a little bit of drive down this little front straight. Oh, thought I saw a bit of a dive there from Houlihan. We'll go back to Simon Phillips. He's just managed to drop. Oh no, he's still on the back of the GTR. Cotter is still with him. That's what Matt Cotter has to look at. Streak down the Mistral straight one more time. Gap between Izzad Farr and Munro now over a second. But start the Jaws music. O'Hara is coming. He's also bringing Houlihan with him, so maybe the tyres just taking a little bit of time to come up to pressure. So we see Phillips trying to sneak the nose in underneath Rasciuti. But he's going to be vulnerable now. Here comes Cotter. He has a think about it. Pulls out of the move. Just not quite close enough this time by. Phillips still looking very racy at the moment. Still all over the back of Rasciuti. The top 5 are starting to pull away. Thinks about a dive bomb into the final corner. Can't quite get it done. And he'll have to... He's lost a bit of momentum. That GTR is not a car that you want to be losing momentum to down out of any corner. They fire off the corners. We'll be looking back at Jeremy Walter. He's made a really good start. He started off 14th, he's up to 11th. Just got ahead of Anthony Cesana. Cesana's had a bit of a shocking start. I believe he started a little bit further up the grid than where he is at the moment. Walter now trying to chase down Matty Hewitt. Another driver who's had a bit of a struggle in the opening stages of this race. But, gee, Walter struggling for straight line pace against that Bentley. Bentley just pulls out of the slipstream and streaks past the Lamborghini down the Mistral straight. See if he can hold it together in this right-hander. Very wide. And he has to get out his pass to get himself back onto the track. Unfortunately, in the meantime, Jeremy Walter will just slide on back through and reclaim that position. So these guys are really battling hard for 11th position. And this has actually brought Josh Lynn into the battle. So Lynn has now brought himself into this fight again. He ranges up onto the back of the Bentley. Bentley using a lot of curve through the second last corner. Lynn thought he outbraked himself there. Jeremy Walter holds on to 11th for another lap. It's lost a lot of time to Honor at 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds back now. So these guys are going to have to try and work together to work their way back onto Honor's rear wing. So you see Cezanne now, he's dropped right back into the clutches of Lynn. What postcard did Anton just visit? Send us a postcard. Very good. Oh, well, speaking of going wide, Jeremy Walter, very, very wide. He's gone out to Sicily. That's where he's gone. No, not Sicily. Oh, I don't know. Try to make it. I don't know geography that well in Europe. Well, we're going to quickly swap back to the lead battle because Andy O'Hara has just managed to take Chris Munro, and they've also been catching the Aston of Brian Izzat-Farr. So this could turn into a four-way battle. I wonder if Izzat-Farr's just taken a little bit too much out of the tyre as they swing by to tick off another lap. So O'Hara, start playing the Jaws music now. He is closing and closing fast on the back of Brian Izzat-Farr. Meanwhile, this battle here we go. Houlihan, he's pulled out of the slipstream on the Bentley. Not sure that he will have the legs down the straight to make the pass stick. He's going to go the long way around nonetheless. Porsche's good under brakes, but this time by Munro just holds off Houlihan. But Houlihan will have a good drive out of turn two. Oh, he gets it sideways over the exit curb. So, Munro, he'll hold on to that position for another lap. But here comes Houlihan again. Oh, Munro gets the hairpin a little bit wrong. Oh, a bit of wheel spin. But the Bentley should have the legs down the Mistral straight. That Porsche is down on top end. And even with the slipstream, you can see that the Porsche is starting to drop behind. Well, as I say, though, it starts to close up straight away in the slipstream. That is a mighty quick Porsche in a straight line. Pulls out of the slipstream. It's going to be a brave move into this fast right-hander. Munro tries to squeeze him to the inside as much as he can. Oh, a bit of a tank slap there for Munro. They both give each other plenty of room, and Houlihan will take third position. So Ryan Houlihan and is now back up onto the podium. This has actually dragged Alex Spinozzi onto the back of these guys in the Aston. The battle is not over between Munro and Houlihan. So Houlihan now is just starting to stretch the legs of the Porsche now. Oh, it gets a spill bit sideways. Well wide. That'll give Munro a sniff. Here we go, Andy O'Hara's right onto the back of Brian Izzat-Farr now. So that's what Izzat-Farr's been looking at, getting bigger in his mirror for the last couple of laps. We'll have to wait and see if Ryan has got enough to hold off the big BMW. Just keeping an eye on that battle down for 11th. It looks like Cezanne has managed to just take 11th for now. They are catching Honor. As we just see, the paint gets stripped off the side of that Aston Martin by the speed of that BMW. So O'Hara's really got this BMW hooked up. So after getting mugged at the start big time, Andy O'Hara now reclaims the lead of this race. He actually starts to just skip away slightly. So we'll call that race, well, not over yet. Still got a long way to go. with just over 46 minutes left on the clock. But gone the wrong way with the button again, as we see Houlihan. He's now leading a three-way battle, and this is for third position. And in fact, I think Ricciuti is now starting to buy into it. So 56.8 for Ricciuti last time out, and 57. So that GTR is actually pretty quick. In fact, he's faster than Izad Far. So I do think that the GTR looks after its tyres really well in comparison to some of the other cars on the track. So I'll wait and see if Ricciuti can use that to his advantage. He's now onto the back of Spinozzi. So whether the battling between Houlihan, Munro and Spinozzi has helped Ricciuti close the gap, or whether it's just sheer outright pace for Ricciuti, either way, it has helped the GTR just bridge the gap a little bit between himself and this battle for third, as we see, oh, Spinozzi wide. This will give Ricciuti a chance. They make their way into the double right-hander. So Munro was also a little bit squirrely going into that right-hander. He just grabs that inside front brake as well. So this is going to leave. Wrong way again. There we go, Chris Munro. He's going to be vulnerable to these two soon. We're going to quickly check in with Anthony Cesana because he has actually started to gap. Actually, no, Lynn is right there. They've managed to gap Walter, but they've closed the gap onto Honor ahead in the Audi. So I think the Audi, I do believe it does use its tyres a lot harder than the other cars in Competizione. So I'd say that Honda is just starting to run into a few tyre issues, and that's helping Cesana, Lynn, I would say Walter and Starrett start to close the gap. So have a look at the top speed of the Audi. I'm expecting about 275 k's per hour for the Audi. And on 276, that's not bad. So you can see that Bentley is right on the back of the Audi. Are we going to see a bit of a send? Not this time round. Right on board now with the Cesana. Now what Cesana's got to keep in mind is that he has got Lynn right behind him. So he has a bit of a send and it doesn't go to plan, he is going to lose a position to Lynn. So Honor goes, track sacrifices into the final corner. Oh, Cesana very wide. So we got a bit of a battle here again between Jackson Starrett and Jeremy Walter. Walter sliding back down to 14th again. So Walter has gone backwards since the start of this race. He had a fantastic start, went around the outside of the entire field going into turn one. But it hasn't paid off for him with, well, just under 20 minutes into this race. So wait and see if he can bounce back by the end of this race. Let's head back to this battle here. Honor is still holding off Oh, I think we've just had someone lose it. It's Jeremy Walter. Just as we were talking highly about him, he's binned it. I'd say he's done it over the curbs. In fact, we'll bring up a replay of that. So we're looking for car 999. 999, there we go. So he's right tucked up behind the Porsche of Starrett. I think he's just going to get that curb. And, just a bit of a tank slap. Manages to turn it into a cool flick spin and keeps it going. So, well, Walter, don't think he's going to feature anymore in this race. As Honor has looped it as well. So, James Honey's managed to keep it going. He's only lost 2 positions to Susanna and Lynn, so we're going to have to go to a replay for that as well. So we're looking for car 51. There he is right there. So it's tipped it in. So he's grabbed this curb. He's gone very wide. Oh, he's lost the rear, and Lynn and Susanna were so lucky not to get collected by the Audi. But that has elevated Susanna and Lynn up in, well, Susanna into the top 10. Lynn now fighting for a top 10 position. This will be a great bounce back after Nürburgring. It was a struggle round for Lynn. Ladders over the curb. Just to keep tucked in behind the Bentley. Meanwhile, O'Hara's just stretched that gap out to 2.3 seconds over Izzat Farr. BMW winds up. Slipstream not helping against the twin-turbo V8 of the Bentley. Oh, look at the big oversteer moment on the entry to that right-hander. So Susanna is under pressure. Will Lynn go for a send? Not quite. He's going to have to wait. He'll probably try and set him up. Get a good exit out of here. He's really close here. But Susanna is going a little bit defensive. And it gets much better drive out of the left-hander. So Lynn has to do all the hard work again. He runs it very deep into the second last corner. James Honda's actually coming under pressure from Jackson Starrett. Trying to find... Still got this battle going between Alex Spinozzi and Raschuti. Oh, they touch down the straight. Raschuti's got the overlap going into the first chicane, or second chicane really, and Raschuti has done the job. So, we have a drive-through for Matt Cotter. So, Matt Cotter in the 99 Aston Martin. I would hazard to guess that that is track limits. We have anyone from the steward's room, if you can confirm. Very easy. It's very, very easy on this track to get some track limit warnings. Very, very sensitive around this track. Stefano Raschuti, man on the move at the moment. Still in the low 57s. Drivers around him are about doing the same pace, with the exception of Houlihan and, of course, Andy O'Hara. 56 flat for O'Hara versus 56.5 for Izzat Farr. Have to wait and see what Raschuti can do. He's already closing up onto the back of Chris Munro. And as I've said, this GTR does seem to look after the tyres a lot better than many of the other cars in Competizione. So Let's keep an eye on this GTR as the race wears on. As we're getting set for the pit window to open. Should open at 35 minutes to go. So Matt Cotter into the pit lane to serve his drive-through. That's going to elevate Joshua Lynn up into the top 10, I would say. This battle's still going on. In fact, I think, yeah, Josh Lynn has actually managed to get around Anthony Cesana. So, Lynn's under pressure though. Oh, he does give Cesana a bit of room. Cesana just deciding to pull out of the move at the last minute. So we'll see what the Bentley can do with the slipstream on the BMW, although that BMW is very quick in a straight line. Doesn't look as though Cesana's got any answer for now. Oh, Cesana, big oversteer on the entry.
Pit window is open.
So here we go, pit window is open. Drivers have got 10 minutes to make their pit stop. Have to take on fuel, and I do believe tyres as well, or tyres and fuel, I don't know. So let's see what strategies play out. So we see Cesana all over the back of Lynn now. Pulls out of the move, although Lynn runs it in deep. And Lynn is forced to go defensive. In fact, Lynn's going to go straight into the pit lane. No fuel, just tyres. In fact, we've got a few cars in the pits. Munro, Spinozzi, Phillips and Lynn all taking their pit stop. And Starrett also into the pits. So, well, we'll wait and see what the undercut is like. Lynn stops it in the box. This is sort of blown the field wide open a bit. See Daniel Hemi-Baton racing. Well, racing down the front straight. I think Daniel just still coming to grips with the ACC simulator and the GTR. It's good to see he hasn't given up though. So Chris Munro and Alex Spinozzi, they're the first ones to have done their pit stops. As Izzat Farr, he's not leaving it late this time, he's going in now. So Chris Munro, first man to have done his pit stop. We'll wait and see where he comes out. Houlihan also into the pits. Let's see if we can't. And Matt Hewitt also into the pits. So here we go. Bring up our track map. Cars we're looking for at the moment are 185 and 925. They're coming around the top of the map just now. Oh, Houlihan a little bit slow to get to the mark there. Just waiting. So Izzat Farr's already moving. Will Ryan Houlihan start moving? He's already moved, so undercut not a huge deal on this circuit. So Chris Munro will get back up, I want to say behind Houlihan. Wait and see where Spinozzi ends up, because I believe Spinozzi was battling with Ricciuti. As I said earlier, I'm expecting that the tyre wear on this circuit will be pretty high because of all the high load corners. So Andy O'Hara now into the pit lane. Maybe he's just responded to Izzat Farr's pit stop. And Ricciuti has also made his pit stop. So I am expecting that O'Hara should take the lead of this race easily. So we wait for the BMW of O'Hara to get rolling again.
Keep it up.
So we've just ticked over half race distance. So O'Hara already moving. We'll wait and see where Izzat Farr is. And there he is right there. Oh no, Josh Lynn has gotten a drive through as well. That'll be for track limits as well. In fact, Ricciuti has actually made a lot of ground. He's actually jumped ahead of Chris Munro. So he came in. Well, Munro came into the pits before Ricciuti, and Ricciuti was behind. And well, Ricciuti has now come out in front of Munro's Bentley. So very interesting. The undercut has not worked for Munro. We're just waiting on Susanna, Cotter and Hemi Bateman to make their pit stop, and then the whole field will be ticked off. So wait, see. Let's see Anthony Susanna. What will he do? Might try and squeeze one more lap in. No, the guy that he is racing, Josh Lynn, has gotten himself a drive-through, so he's not risking it. He's going straight into the pit lane. There's a good entry as well. Wait and see if Matt Cotter decides to do his pit stop now. He can squeeze one more lap in. And he'll go around one more time. No, he won't. He'll go straight into the pits. Oh, very aggressive entry. I wonder if he managed to slow it down in time. So, Daniel Hemi Bateman, he's doing Izzat Farr a huge no, he's actually just jumped out of the way. So, doesn't look as though Bateman wants to get involved in any battles. That has done Stefano Ricciuti and Chris Munro a huge favour, as they are a lot closer to the back of the 912 Porsche. And thank you to NRG 93 for the follow. I hope you're enjoying the stream so far, mate. Keep an eye on this battle. Just seeing Ricciuti is getting a little bit closer to the back of Houlihan. Know that the GTR is quick in a straight line, and the Porsche not quite so quick. NRG 93 Glad you're enjoying it. Watching from the other side of the world, mate. Where are you joining us? We are an Australian and New Zealand-based league. Where are you joining us from, mate? From Sweden. Oh, I think that's got to be a record. I don't think we've had someone that far away join our stream. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But all the way from Sweden, mate. Thank you for joining us. I want to say this morning in Sweden, because it's 7:30 Australian time at night. Actually, got a battle here. 11:28. Oh, there we go. Jackson, what a send. Oh, bit of a bump. So Jackson, Sarah, not wasting any time. Glad we swapped to these guys in time. So that was a massive send from Jackson Starrett on the Bentley of Anthony Cesana. I'm sure Cesana will want to get a little bit of payback on Starrett's Porsche. Closes right up under brake. He's gone in a little bit too deep. That'll give Starrett that'll give Starrett a bit of an advantage as they make their way through the technical turn 3, 4, and 5. Although the Bentley closes right back. Bentley's pretty quick in a straight line, so that Porsche is really vulnerable at the moment. So here we go. Oh yeah, it didn't take long. The Bentley's already starting to gobble up the Porsche. It's got a Porsche sandwich right in front of it. The big grill at the front just swallows it up. And Cesana now takes back 9th position. We'll wait and see for a return send from Starrett. Although Cesana very aggressive over the curbs. Here we go. No, not quite. He has to pull out of it. But Cesana takes a much tighter line through this double right-hander. Going to go back and forth, mate. I hope so. It's the best part of racing. So now Starrett. Saw him make the move here last lap. Cesana will be wise to it. Here we go. Send, not quite. Although, oh, so close. They almost touched, but they managed to keep going. So great racing between Jackson Starrett and Anthony Cesana so far. That was going to be send of the century. Now we look out the back of the Bentley. Look at the drive that the Porsche gets out of turn number 2. Cesana goes defensive. Jackson goes for a send around the outside. He's going to try and go for a switchback. Doesn't quite pay off this time by. But he should get the drive out of the hairpin. He's probably just going to have to use... He's probably going to have to use the slipstream just to stay in touch with the Bentley down the Mistral Straight. Massive hole that the Boatley punches through the air. Here we go, that Porsche is getting a little bit closer. It's not going to be close enough to make the move done, certainly not fast enough in a straight line to streak past the Bentley. They tip it into the right-hander. Both get a little bit greedy with track limits. Oh, Starrett wide. Manages to keep it in track limits, amazingly. Try and slingshot through the second apex. That's as you were. That is an actual achievement. I agree with you, NRG. Well, obviously, you put half a tyre, and you get a track limit warning. Here he goes. Porsche. Oh, gets a bit of an oversteer moment on the apex. That hurt his mid-corner pace. He's still got the drive. Oh, he thinks about it. Has to pull out of it. Zazana aggressive over the curbs. There's still nose to tail, these guys. Brilliant racing. You see the Porsche starting to close in again in the slipstream. Just doesn't have the legs down the straight, unfortunately. So he's going to have to try and work out where to get the Bentley. And then he's going to have to do it earlier in the lap, I reckon. Just so he can pull out a bit of a gap before the Mistral straight, because that Porsche just gets gobbled up by the Bentley. In fact, I think we're going to see a move soon. He had a half think about ascend right there. He's lost a bit of drive. He's definitely pushing hard. Trying to get Susanna under as much pressure as possible. Oh, Jackson runs it a little bit too deep. And still, just under 20 minutes to go. These two are nose to tail. Wait and see if Jackson gets a much better drive out of turn 2, because that seems to be where the Porsche has the strength. And it's good under brakes in comparison to the Bentley as well. We're also seeing that Chris Munro has managed to catch onto the back of the Nissan of Ricciuti. Definitely try and keep an eye on that battle soon. These guys look like as if they settled down enough that we're going to quickly swap over to this battle here. This is between Ricciuti and Munro. Saw that Ricciuti for a little while was catching the back of the Porsche of Brian Houlihan, but Houlihan's just sort of he's regrouped and managed to pull a gap on the GTR. Just looks as though Ricciuti is just starting to fall into the clutches of Munro now, just in the latter stages of this race. I'm wondering if there was I remember that he and Spinozzi were pretty close together. Maybe I'm wrong. Now we're right on board with Chris Munro's Bentley. Gets a little bit of understeer on the apex of turn 2. You just see that the GTR just stretches the legs a little bit. The GTR is really good coming out of corners. The Bentley, I would say, has probably got a little bit more punch down the straight than the Nissan. She's just managed to get that gap over a second now. Let's check back with the Susanna Starrett battle. Starrett much closer this time round. A good all-round car. Oh, that's a good question. Got ACC a week, Thursday a week ago. Mate, just have a play around with every single car and see what works for you. I think the Ferrari is a very stable car. I think I've heard it's a little bit tricky to drive. Maybe the Aston Martin is also pretty good as well. Starrett closes in once again. Sexy won't turn back. Make sure it's the NSX Evo. Don't go the original NSX. That thing was awful. Maybe the BMW as well, but the BMW struggles down low. So Starrett is closer this time. He's going for a send, big send. Oh, but Susanna hangs it around the outside. Brilliant racing. I don't think these two actually touched. Brilliant racing. In fact, Starrett still side by side as they make their way to turn number 3. Starrett still around the outside, but Susanna chops the nose off. Amazing battle. That was a huge send. Oh, they touch now, and they're both around. What a bin. So, Susanna and Starrett have stacked each other. So, it was an opportunistic pass from Starrett. He was I think he was more trying to get as close as possible to the back of the Bentley. In fact, Starrett has readdressed the situation, so great sportsmanship there from both drivers. But what that has done is it's actually brought James Honor and Matt Cotter into this battle. In fact, let's jump on board with Matt Cotter because he's about to make a move on the Audi of Honor. And in fact, he might get 2 for down the Mistral straight. He goes for the inside and he gets 2 for 1 down the Mistral straight. So Matt Cotter, the big winner out of that. And Honor now looking at a move on the back of Starrett. In fact, he's going to send it up the inside. And it looks like he's got it done. So, Jackson Starrett, he's had a nightmare of a lap. In fact, Starrett not wasting time. He's straight back up the inside. So, Starrett, very exciting lap for him, I have to say. And now he sends it very wide. Oh, and he touches Honor that time. Maybe. He's not readdressing, so maybe they didn't touch at all. But Jackson's a very honest driver. What a lap. All suddenly fired up. And now Matt Cotter is in with a chance to try and fight for 9th position. Cotter, he just looks like as if he's got a little bit more mid-corner pace than the Bentley ahead. Wait and see what he can do down the Mistral straight. The Aston is no slug in a straight line. Just about to tick 12.5 minutes to go in this race. What do I think about the McLaren 650? I think that's the older McLaren. I think you're after the 720. The 720 is, I've heard that the brakes aren't that great. We see Matt Cotter, he's lining up a move here. Very vulnerable Susanna. Susanna gets a terrible exit. Now here comes the Aston of Matt Cotter. And a good slipstream down the straight. Cotter jinking left and right. He's trying to feint Susanna. Susanna just drives it down the centre of the track. He's not budging. Determined to make that Bentley as wide as humanly possible. But no, we're going to go to Chopper Cam just for this battle. Cotter now sends it up the inside. Looks like an easy move. He's got it done. So Matt Cotter's managed to fight back to 9th position. Great recovery for him after he got a drive-through penalty for what I can only assume to be track limits. We've got a battle that's been slowly getting closer, and it's Jeremy Walter and Josh Lynn. Though Honor and Starrett are still pretty close. But, Walter has had a very exciting race so far. He had a brilliant start, but he just hasn't been able to convert that start into overall race pace. And he's just trying to chase down the BMW of Walter. A little bit of a slide there for Lynn. That'll bring the Lamborghini a little bit closer. In fact, the Lamborghini just seems to be a little bit better in these tight, twisty sections. Actually, that should make sense. Mid-engine car versus a big, long front-engined car. Energy, going to try the Aston and the Honda. Yeah, go for it, mate. I think they're both good choices. But if you want to give up, go the Porsche. Gotta love that that slow over rotation. We start the 25th lap of this race. Lynn runs it very wide. It'll cost him a little bit of exit pace. In fact, I think he might be vulnerable to the Lamborghini down the straight. Lamborghini is also another car that's pretty slick down the straights. Big slide from Lynn. It's definitely under pressure from Walter now. See that Walter is now within half a second of Lynn. And in fact, I think Chris Munro may have had an off-track excursion because he's dropped well off the back of Raschuti. So right now, I think Honor's also had a off-track excursion too. I think for everyone out there, if you're interested in giving ACC a go, I think it's still on sale. I think someone said it was $28 Australian dollars. So if you haven't got it yet, get it in your collection of sim races because it is awesome. Especially if you're a huge GT3 fan. Get on this. Give a league like AK a go. and just enjoy yourself with this sim. Very detailed. Just see that Lynn seems to be strongest in the first sector over Walter. It's right about here that Jeremy Walter seems to have a lot more confidence. As I say that, he goes for a bit of a slide, hangs onto it. Good work, son. Nice hole. Fantastic stuff there from Jeremy Walter. Doesn't help him trying to catch Josh Lynn, but that looked spectacular. And I'll tell you right now, he has done fantastic to hang on to it. So, well done, Jeremy. Should be absolutely stoked that you hung on to that one. Let's catch up with our leader though, Andy O'Hara. He's on lap 27. He's got about 5 minutes left in this race. He's pulled out just under 8 seconds over Izzad Farr. It's just been another dominant drive from O'Hara. He's got this BMW hooked up nicely. O'Hara's just got some lap traffic ahead of him. That would be Daniel Hemi Bateman in the Nissan. In fact, Hemi Bateman will drive well off the racing line. In fact, he'll drive off the track. Very polite driving there for Hemi Bateman. And he'll slide in behind O'Hara. Maybe he'll hopefully picks up a few things from our leader and resident alien. So try and catch up with another battle soon. Fortunately, the whole field is spread out. Izzad Farr still giving chase to O'Hara. He's picked up a 10th, but I think with 3 minutes 30 to go, I don't think Izzad Farr is going to make much of an impression on Andy O'Hara's, on the gap between himself and O'Hara. So right now, I'd say for Izzad Farr, it'd just be about consolidating his position and making sure he doesn't do anything silly like spin the car out somewhere. Still, don't go away after this race because we will have one more race to go. We'll have a quick 10-minute breather while drivers go out there and just do some final practice before we head into a bit of a shootout qualifying session which will determine the grid for race number 2. Izzad Farr is still pushing, just can't seem to bridge the gap between himself and O'Hara, although that gap has sort of stabilised over the last lap between 7.8 and 7.9. So O'Hara's probably in conservation mode as well. But I'll tell you right now, Ryan Houlihan, he's having a lonely drive here at the moment. 15 seconds adrift from Izzad Farr, and he's got 3.4 seconds between himself and Ricciuti. As we see the big Nissan just behind. Fortunately, the whole field really just strung out at the moment. So unfortunately not able to bring any exciting battles, although maybe a battle could brew between Alex Spinozzi and Simon Phillips.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now.
So here we go, final lap time for our leader, Andy O'Hara. He's just been unstoppable this race. Well, we thought he might be in for a little bit of a challenge after he got gobbled up at the start. The BMW just taking too long to spool up those turbos. But he certainly managed to fight his way through some of the best drivers in AK Gaming. The best races in AK Gaming, I should say. And once again, just like absolute clockwork for O'Hara. Guarantee this whole race he has been doing the exact same line, hitting the same points, clipping the same curb, going out the exact same distance on the exit. He is an absolute machine. As he comes to the end of the Mistral Straight for the final time in race 1. Absolutely picture perfect. I'm even going to risk a commentator's curse for Andy, but this will be an absolutely outstanding victory for our resident alien. Well, I think there's actually a debate as to whether he's human or whether he's a computer. But Andy O'Hara will cross the line for the checkered flag. A well-deserved win for Andy O'Hara. So brilliant drive for Andy O'Hara. Brian Izzat-Farr, he will salvage a second position. He'll be happy with that. Well, Ryan Houlihan, I reckon Houlihan will be slightly disappointed with a third place finish and a very lonely drive to the end of the race. I'll tell you someone who will be pretty happy will be Stefano Rasciuti in the Nissan GTR, coming home in 4th position. And then we have Chris Munro in the big Bentley, in the Boatley, comes home in 5th position. Let's go to our free cam as we tick off the next drivers across the line. It's Spinozzi and Phillips. Wait for Matty Hewitt in the next Aston. And we have Matt Cotter. Still got Anthony Cesano on the back of him, though some distance. So there we go. Matt Cotter fights back for 9th position after a drive-through penalty, and Anthony Cesano will round out the top 10. Jackson Starrett, he managed to get himself back up to 11th position ahead of Honor, who's actually fought back. He's closed that gap between himself and Starrett. And Josh Lynn in 13th, and Jeremy Walter will round out our finishes in 14th position. So let's head back to the garage. So let's head back to the garage. So let's have a look at our timetable. So, well, we're heading it straight into free practice. So
Green line. Give it all you got.
there is the finishing order for our GT3 field tonight. We're gonna have a quick break, and we are gonna head into qualifying in about 9.5 minutes time. So if you want to get yourself a drink, make sure you do so. Hopefully the next race will be a lot closer now that everyone's got the nerves out of the way for the first race of tonight. Anyway, we will be right back. And we're back. We've got about a minute, just over a minute and 20 seconds left in free practice. Don't know if anyone's actually gone out on track. No, that doesn't look like anyone has. So, driver of the race for race 1. I don't really know who to give it to be honest. So I'm going to leave it up to chat. So I'm going to be that guy. In fact, I want to see something. I've noticed a couple of other people actually doing this with the. There we are. Enabled. Let's see. That's not what we want. We want that to be completely. There we go. Full app. There we go.
Green light.
Right.
Go, go, go.
That hasn't quite worked the way I wanted it to. Oh well. Well, we are now into qualifying. This is a one-shot qualifier. As we wait to see a couple of cars head onto track. Currently we are following Chris Munro. First car on track, 925 of, it's not the way we wanted, 925 of Alex Spinozzi. Spins. So these drivers will get enough time just to do one lap in this qualifying session for race number 2. So let's ride on board with Alex Spinozzi as he gets set to start his first lap, although a couple of cars a bit tardy getting out of the pit lane. Oh no, we got a car off the track. It's thought I saw the number 51 of James Honor off the track on the map. So have to try and re-find our man Alex Spinozzi. There he is. Go outside the box here and say either Munro or is that far? Jeez. After the absolute spanking that O'Hara gave them. That is quite outside the box. I'll give you good odds for that. Good odds for me. I have to say the 925 is looking pretty hooked up at the moment. Just looking at the steering inputs from Alex Spinozzi. A little bit of oversteer just on the approach to the Mistral Straight. He's got Chris Munro behind him in the Bentley. Oh, gets a big slide on the entry. Very easy to do there. But managed to keep it going in the same direction again. He's seems like the car just wants to pitch on the inside brake, but he's kept it alive. Right back on board with Spinozzi. He's had a couple of stabs at the corner there. Fire it out onto the main straight, and he should be at 55, I reckon. 55.8 for Spinozzi. And we're going to wait to see Chris Munro. He does not do better. 56.6 for Munro. We'll see what Ricciuti can do. He's rather competitive at the end of race number 1. What does he stop the clock at? A 155.8. So he goes to the top by 0.6006 of a second with joined with Jeremy Walter. So he fires the 999 Lamborghini onto the main straight. Can't do better. 157.4 is the best he can manage. Matt Cotter in the Aston. What can he do this time? 154.9. So Matt Cotter, a massive improvement between race 1 and race 2. Cesana, a 155.8. See what Andy O'Hara can do. Expecting a low 54. He can't do it, so Matt Cotter has out-qualified Andy O'Hara. So Brian Izzat-Farr, he's next. What can he do? Gets the big Aston around. Goes straight to the right-hand side of the circuit. And he must have breached track limits. Daniel Hemi Bateman, what can he do? He goes 8th. Here comes Matt Hewitt. 425. 6th is the best he can do. So Ryan Houlihan, next driver. And he goes to 3rd. So Matt Cotter looking good at the moment. Jackson Starrett, he will go up to 7th. Now we're just waiting on Simon Phillips in the Ferrari. And he will only go up to 9th. So Matt Cotter has managed to pull a bit of an upset and take pole position in this qualifying session. Let's return to our main menu. Let's have a look at the final standings for qualifying 2. So Matt Cotter set a 154.9, massive improvement for Cotter. I think he's out for a bit of revenge after a disastrous race number 1. And then we have Andy O'Hara. He'll start on the front row. He's just been gapped. Interestingly, he had the best sector 1 time, sorry, by more than 3/10, but he's given it all away. Oh my God, in the last sector. So very, very interesting. Then we have Ryan Houlihan and Stefano Ricciuti, Alex Spinozzi and Anthony Cesana. Then we have Jackson Starrett, sorry. Matty Hewitt, Phillips, Munro, Walter, Hemi Bateman, Lynn, Izzat-Farr and Honor. So Izzat-Farr, he's got a bit of work to do. For this race. As we wait to hit drive. So, oh, this is rather frustrating. I just want to go through the grid. See a bit of banter going on in the game chat. So it's good to see. I mean, there we go. So let's quickly have a look at a wiring harness. Not really. So here is your field. So Matt Cotter and Andy O'Hara starting on the front row. Then you have Ryan Houlihan and Stefano Rasciuti. He was very strong at the end of that last race. That GTR just seems to look after the tyres nicely. Then we have the Aston Martin of... Sorry, I've got that mixed up. Alex Spinozzi and Anthony Cesana in the number 7 Bentley. Then we have Jackson Starrett in the Porsche and Matty Hewitt in the Aston Martin. Simon Phillips in the Ferrari, Chris Munro in the Bentley, Jeremy Walter in the Lamborghini, Daniel Benny, Hemi Bateman, Brian Izzadfar and James Honor rounding out the field. So let's bring up our leader, Matt Cotter. He reckons that's what he's going to be looking at for the next hour. I'll wait and see what Cotter can do. I mean, I reckon he's found something between race 1 and race 2, or at least qualifying 2. So he might be able to hold off the BMW of O'Hara, although both the BMW and the Aston are very vulnerable at the starts of races. That's for sure. So hit us up very quickly as they make their way around half the lap distance. There's your top 3. So let's make it fun. Top 5. I mean, it's hard to go past O'Hara after that dominating drive of race 1. But I reckon Houlihan and Spinozzi may also feature on the podium. And maybe Cotter and... I'm going to go out on a limb and say Izzadfar to fight through the field and get up into the top 5. As the field gets all set to go. Might just head into free cam mode and head to our position at the start line. Oh, slow down, camera. There we go. So wait for the field to round the second last corner. We'll actually try and give you a bit of a cool sight over the field. 14 cars. Unfortunately, I think we have lost Jeremy Lin. Hopefully it was just some internet connection issues that have caused us to lose the second BMW. So we are set for a start. Obviously we're missing Lin, so that's why Izzadfar and Honor are so wide. We're getting set for a start off. Very odd that the BMW of Andy O'Hara was that far behind our pole sitter of Matt Cotter. As we head into turn number 1, they're 3 wide. Spinozzi up the inside of Rasciuti. They're still side by side. Looks like everyone's managed to keep going. The little cone on the inside of turn number 1 has gone flying already. But the whole field, despite the fact that everyone is about 3 cars wide at one stage, it looks like they have all managed to get through. We see a move from Munro on the inside of Starrett. And I want to say that's either Hewitt or Izzadfar in the purple and black Aston Martin. They're still side by side. Look at this. Unbelievable driving. Back down the field. So Brian Izzadfar already up to 8th position. And we've got a battle here. Simon Phillips, he's under all sorts of pressure. Look at this sight for Simon Phillips. Another great start for Jeremy Walter. He's already fighting for a top 10 position. As they fan out 3 wide down the Mistral Straight. They're going to be 3 wide going into this fast right-hander. Someone's got to surrender. And it's not going to be Simon Phillips. He hangs it around the inside Although Hewitt sticks it around the outside. Bateman, oh, he might have just given a nudge to the back of the Walter Lamborghini. And they're still side by side. Unbelievable racing from these two, and great respect shown between both competitors. Still side by side, but it looks like Phillips is going to have to surrender the position to Hewitt, so Matt Hewitt finally gets his man and gets into the top 10. Starrett, in the meantime, has skipped away from those guys. But out in front, it is Matt Cotter. He leads the Porsche of Ryan Houlihan. Andy O'Hara's just managed to scrape himself onto the podium for the end of lap 1. And we'll wait and see if the Nissan GTR of Stefano Raschuti can match the pace of these top 3. So we see a bit of a move. Munro thinking about a move into turn number 1. As they round turn 2, fire off down the hill. Oh, further back, Jeremy Walters managed to get himself back into the top 10, so I don't know what's happened. We've lost Matt Hewitt and Simon Phillips, so those two are in close contact with each other. We'll have a quick look at the replay and just see if we can work out what has happened. There he is, number 87. So I think they've come together at the final hairpin. Yeah, it does look indeed like it has. Oh no. So Hewitt loops it in front of Phillips. Oh, a bit of a touch there from Phillips actually. So I think the pens might be coming out for that one. But still, all drivers still going. Phillips behind Hewitt, but they have lost a mountain of time. Ryan Houlihan now is trying to make that Porsche as small as it is in reality, as wide as he possibly can. He's got Andy O'Hara all over the back of him. Raschuti is all over the back of O'Hara as well. So O'Hara, he is under a lot of pressure, and Spinozzi is going to battle, find his way into this battle for second position as well. So Houlihan, maybe the pressure's on the Porsche, not quite up to the correct temperature just yet. And all the while, Matt Cotter is actually just skipping away here, so Cotter has found something for that Aston. Now right on board with the Nissan GTR. You see that Houlihan went in a little bit too deep. It's going to give O'Hara a bit of a chance down the Mistral Straight. Although, as I say that, Houlihan has just managed to get enough drive that he has gapped the BMW. Look at this wild slipstream battle. BMW just starting to gobble up the Porsche at the end of the straight. He's going to back out of it. Only a wise decision. Won't lose too much time. Seeing in the background there, we got Battle Cesana. He's trying to hold off Izzat Far. These guys are just starting to lose touch with Alex Spinozzi up ahead in the 925 Aston. Phase looking for a switchback on the way down to turn number 3. I think the Bentley just has a little bit too much torque over the Aston. Oh, we just see there with the steering wheel that Zafar thought about ascend into the hairpin. He's just going to have to settle for trying to get as much drive as possible for the Mistral Straight. Comes Izzat Far, he's got the slipstream. Pull out right now. And he has to pull back in. He's just not enough straight line poke in the Aston to beat the Bentley. So Cezanne, although here comes a send, and he's done that really well. So Izzat Far gets up to 6th position now, just up ahead of Anthony Cezanne. Wait and see what Izzat Far can do, whether he can get onto terms with Alex Spinozzi. This battle is still going. I have to say, Houlihan has done a fantastic job at holding off the BMW of Andy O'Hara. So 55.9 for O'Hara versus a 56 flat for Houlihan. And a 55.8 for Matt Cotter. So Cotter is starting to stretch that gap between himself and this battling trio. So that Stefano Rasciuti is matching the pace of Houlihan this race as well. But, battle's still going up and down the field. See that Hemi Bateman now has fallen into the clutches of a recovering Matty Hewitt and Simon Phillips. And James Honor is also, I think he's had a bin moment somewhere on the track. So now look out over the rear wing of the Nissan GTR. In theory, the GTR should have a little bit more straight line poke than the Aston. Now the Aston pretty quick in a straight line as well. The Ferrari of Phillips fans out. Just trying to upset the concentration of Hewitt up ahead. Oh, Hewitt's given him a punt, and he's binned him. So, Matt Hewitt and Daniel Hemi Bateman, they've come together. That is looking like a lot of damage on the back of the 426. Should be a lot of damage on the front of that Aston as well. So you can just see maybe a bit of diffused damage as well. Quickly, it's not the car I wanted. Here we go. So yeah, bit of damage. Bit of a punt there, but well, we'll let the stewards decide that one. Either way, Hewitt, he's actually lost out to Simon Phillips at the end of it. So perhaps maybe the pressure from Phillips was just enough to force a bit of desperation there from Hewitt. Maybe just wasn't expecting Bateman to get on the brakes. Still at the front, these three are nose to tail. They've just started to close the gap between themselves and Cotter. Still hasn't been able to find his way around Ryan Houlihan, even though he's putting as much pressure as he possibly can on the back of the Porsche. Look at the drive that the Porsche gets off the corners. That's where O'Hara is losing it. Well, look at Ricard. He's looking a little bit racy at the moment. He pulls out. He's not going to have enough legs down the straight though. Just wasn't close enough that time by. Yeah, brave man to try and outbrake O'Hara. So this 122 Nissan is looking very quick tonight in this second race. See that Hemi Bateman has ducked into the pit lane. I'm fairly certain that will be for repairs. This time Andy O'Hara a lot closer, but Houlihan's making him go the long way round. And in fact, Houlihan goes very far on the inside. And they're still side by side. They go into the double right-hander. O'Hara will go for the switchback. He has the inside line now, and he gets it done. Oh, lots of oversteer. Houlihan will switch back on O'Hara now. He's on the wrong side of the track. He'll have to try and switch back again. So finally, Andy O'Hara has just managed to get in front of Ryan Houlihan. Great driving from those two. Now we'll wait and see if Houlihan can go with O'Hara as he tries to chase down Matt Cotter. Houlihan does have to be aware of the Nissan behind him. Once again, these three still nose to tail. O'Hara hasn't quite managed to pull away from Houlihan. Ricard is still hanging in there. Oh, Houlihan very wide. That'll surely be a track limit. Down the Mistral straight again. Unfortunately, the slipstream not helping the Porsche as much as it helped the BMW. Just wait for that rotation for the Porsche to. That's its real strong point, the rotation. Unfortunately, it also happens to be its weakest point. We saw that in the previous race, Houlihan was having a lot of oversteer issues. And again, he's still got a little bit of oversteer issues. You can see him working hard on the wheel, trying to maintain control of that Porsche. And now this battle pack has got within a second of Matt Cotter. Houlihan, he's looking racy for a bit of a lunge here. Here he goes. Oh, he's pulled out of it. He's probably decided now's not the time to fight with O'Hara. We're catching Cotter. Better to just work together so we don't cost ourselves time. Once again, they make their way onto this straight. So let's look at the back of Cotter's Aston Martin. That BMW of Andy O'Hara looks ready to swallow him whole. Whatever O'Hara has done with that BMW, It is an absolute missile down the straight. He's on the wrong side of the track for the long right-hander. They're still side by side. Cotter does give racing room to O'Hara. He's on the right side of the circuit for the next corner. This is going to be 3 wide. Houlihan thought about sticking his nose in there. He might be able to capitalise from O'Hara being on the wrong side of the track, but no, they're still Cotter, O'Hara and Houlihan in that order. Exactly the same as they were. Like Cotter running very wide. So Cotter is under pressure now. He's got the BMW of O'Hara and the Porsche of Houlihan right up behind him. And buying his way into the battle is Stefano Rasciuti. And Izzat Farah has got Spinozzi. See that purple speck in the background. So Izzat Farah is coming. O'Hara now, he's been forced defensive by Houlihan. Oh, Rasciuti thought about a send on Houlihan. Just wasn't quite close enough that time by. In fact, Houlihan, he has really got the eyes on. He's really pressuring O'Hara as they're still side by side going through into the chicane. There goes one of the corner markers spiralling away. All the while, this is helping Matt Cotter again. So these guys work together. They closed the gap down to a point that they were actually having a dig at Cotter. Then they started battling amongst themselves, and that's given Cotter 0.7 of a second. Now here comes O'Hara. He's wound the BMW up again. Oh, big slide. He has to go back to 4th gear. Porsche of Houlihan just too far behind to capitalise. In fact, Houlihan's really coming under pressure from Rasciuti now. And we'll keep an eye on that gap between 4th and 5th. Izzat Farah, it's down to 2.1 seconds. Once again, we look at the back of the Aston Martin of Matt Cotter. They're still nose to tail. This is unbelievably good racing from all 4 of these drivers. And here comes Izzat Farah. Just see that purple and black Aston Martin. It's getting closer and closer every single lap. Swap to helicopter cam for this battle. There's your top 4. O'Hara thinks about a send. Backs out of it. Very interesting watching Houlihan make his entry onto the Mistral Straight. He doesn't use as much curb as what O'Hara and Cotter do in front of him. Although here comes O'Hara, he's much closer this time. I don't think Cotter's going to be able to do anything to defend this time. Just gone half distance down the straight, and Cotter is going to have to relinquish the lead, or is he? He's going to try and... No, so O'Hara is now back out in front. Matt Cotter in the Aston, relegated back to 2nd. So your new race leader, Andy O'Hara, in the BMW. Just saw that thing just gobble up the Aston in a straight line. That thing is a bullet. They took off another lap, start lap 11 with about 38 minutes left in this race. They've got 3 minutes until the pit window opens. Houlihan is next to line up behind Matt Cotter. He is looking particularly racy. Oh, both Cotter and Houlihan grab a little bit too much curb. Oh, Cotter so deep. Just managed to pull it up. Really had to throw the car in though, just to get it to make the apex. So we'll see if the Porsche can also pass the Aston. Just doesn't look like he has the legs. Just doesn't have the power down that back straight. This will bring Ricciuti into the battle. Oh, they're almost touching. Houlihan his gamble has not paid off. Ricciuti up the inside. They're still side by side. They might bang doors. They do. Houlihan goes a little bit wide now. He's still level with Ricciuti, and he's going to have to tuck in behind the GTR now. So Ricciuti, big winner out of all that. Houlihan, his gamble did not pay off. He's relegated back to 4th position. He's going to have to work pretty hard to get around that GTR again. So now, Ricciuti, he takes over, and this has actually brought Brian Izzat Farr into the battle. So, player 4 has joined the battle. Hara's already stretching that advantage. Pit window will open at before the end of this lap. Now we're right on board with Ricciuti. See in the mirror there, Houlihan, he's under pressure from Izzat Farr. We'll wait and see if the Nissan has enough straight line speed to get around the Aston. But it does look as though the Aston and the Nissan are fairly evenly matched. See Izzat Farr looking left and right. He's going to have to tuck back in behind the Porsche. Oh, he's hit the bump awkwardly, and he's going to go very wide. Almost into a different country. Oh, Houlihan gets a lot of wheel spin. Bit of oversteer just on the apex of the, well, just on the second apex. There's the pit window. Are we going to see anyone from this battle for second dive out and into the pit lane? Saw that the undercut didn't really work for many of the drivers. In fact, they're all going to keep going long, I think. No! So Houlihan and Izzat Farr both into the pits. It's a big gamble. Wait and see if it pays off for them. In fact, a lot of drivers into the pits. Amazingly. This man keeps circulating, but the battle for second is still on. So at the moment we have Houlihan, Izzat Farr, Spinozzi, Munro and Phillips all in the pit lane. And here we go, Ricciuti up the inside, big dive. Doesn't pay off for him. So Ricciuti's definitely got the stamp slicked and put on the envelope. He's ready to send it. So that's grabbed Cotter's attention. See the GTR. Very stable through the long right-hander. Rashidi looks for a move. Oh, he thinks about it. He backs out of it. How close do you want it between these guys? See, Rashidi is really pushing the limits of the track. He's got to be very careful. You don't want to get too many this early in the race. Now, is anyone going to dive into the pit lane? So Andy O'Hara dives into the pit lane. Oh, Rashidi thought about it, but he's tucked back behind Cotter. You see one car coming out of the pit lane. That's Matt Hewitt. Cotter hard over that curb. Here comes Rashidi again. Thought about the move. Oh, he almost got the nose in. Had to pull out of it. This is great racing between these two. Bit of cigarette paper over them. Now Rashidi much closer this time by as they head down the back straight. Rashidi's already pulled out of the slipstream, so not sure what the legs are like outside the slipstream for the GTR. Back. Shooty just tucking back in. So Cotter survives another lap. Oh, here we go. Bit of a dive bomb here. Oh, they touch. Looks like they're still going though. So Rashidi into first. They're still side by side around the second last corner. Cotter tries to hang around the outside. He's going to have to surrender. The corner's just too long to do that. So Stefano Rashidi now takes the lead of this race. The lead goes defensive into the final corner. And in fact, he's going to go straight for the pits. So Rashidi. Great dicing there between himself and Cotter. So Cotter immediately inherits the lead again. Further down, have a battle between Izzad Farr and Houlihan. This is effectively for position 3 or 4. So we're looking for the number 122. He hasn't started moving yet.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
There he is. He hasn't moved yet, so I don't think the long run has actually paid off for Rashidi, unless he's had a bit of a bungle in the pit stop. But I would say that Ryan Houlihan and Izzad Farr are going to both leapfrog Rashidi. We see a drive through for Chris Munro. That'll be for speeding in pit lane. No, that'll be for track limits. So huge mistake for Chris Munro. That'll take him right out of this race. In fact, that undercut for Houlihan and Izzad Farr, massive over Rashidi. In fact, they've actually caught up a bit to O'Hara. See O'Hara just there. Oh, Izzad Farr, sneaky little move. He's got up into effectively second place. And now we see Matt Cotter into the pit lane. So Matt Cotter's finally pulled the pin. He's into pit lane. Maybe he's aware that the undercut is a thing here. So Izzad Farr is still under pressure from Houlihan. Houlihan moving left and right, trying to find any sort of opening. just see the Aston just start to stretch it. Oh, Houlihan, a bit of a snap on the entry. That's cost him a fair bit of time. But then Izzat Farr runs it in too deep in the final corner, misses the apex by a country mile. Could have fit a double-decker bus on its side there between Izzat Farr and the apex. That's going to give Houlihan a run into the first corner. Izzat Farr goes defensive. Houlihan trying to go around the outside. I don't think it's going to work. And try for a switchback. Get the drive out of turn 2. He's just lost a little bit too much track position. And a drive through for Cotter. So Matt Cotter, I think he's just gotten a little bit too greedy on the track limits and he's been bitten again. So for the second race in a row, Matt Cotter, a drive through penalty for, I would say, track limits. Absolute disastrous night for Matt Cotter in the 99 Aston. So once again, this battle's still on between Houlihan and Izzat Farr. Houlihan not giving up. These two have lost 4 seconds. Well, they've dropped back a couple of seconds to O'Hara, and Houlihan, he dropped the outside rear wheel off the track. I don't know how he kept a hold of that. And he's been slapped with a drive-through penalty. Oh no. He's going to be filthy about that. So both Houlihan and Cotter with drive-through penalties, so wipe them out. Houlihan's going to go another lap. So maybe he's just trying to plead his case that he exceeded track limits, that because he had to lose. Didn't actually gain any time. There we go, flashing the headlights. He's still trying to put pressure on Izzat Farr. There you have it, pit window is now closed for our competitors, although everyone has ticked off their pit stop. Hemi Bateman, I think he has retired to the garage. Someone who has won out big is Alex Spinozzi. He's managed to leapfrog Raschuti, and I think he also leapfrogged Cotter as well. So Alex Spinozzi, well, I said to keep an eye on this guy. He performs a lot better in races than what he does in qualifying, and well, again, he's proving it so far. He still has about 24 minutes to go in this race. Seeing a battle here for Raschuti, although there is looks like a lot of damage on the back of the GTR. So I just wonder if perhaps he's had it coming together with another driver. Might check that out another time, but right now Raschuti does look like he's under a bit of pressure here from Cesana. That Nissan does look very vulnerable at the moment. The rear end's just not as planted as what it has been all night. fact, we're going to have a quick look at the replay and just work out what has happened to Ricard. There he is there. Oh, he's had a... Don't know what's happened there. We'll go on board. We're here with Cotter. Okay, so that explains a little bit of why Ricard has got a fair bit of damage on the back of that GTR and why he fell behind Spinozzi. And finally, Ryan Houlihan has taken his tour of the pit lane. He'll be pretty disappointed with that. He was right up there with Izzad Farr, but what that does do is it elevates this guy onto the podium. He's kept it tidy. That car is looking pretty well showroom. Someone in chat refresh me. What were my predictions again? So I said, I know I said O'Hara. Fairly certain I said Spinozzi. I knew that Izzad Farr would get into the top 5, but who are my other 2 picks? 'Cause that's looking rather familiar. That top 5 at the moment. Battle's still going on between Ricard and Susanna. Just see that 122 is struggling. Other 2 predictions both got drive-throughs. Yeah, that's true. I don't think I predicted that Cotter would be in the top 5. I'm pretty certain I did predict Houlihan. Like he can still fight back. He can still fight back. It's not over yet. He's got just under 20 minutes. Someone go back through the stream and just pick out my predictions. Again, here comes Susanna. He's got a lot of pace over the GTR. So that GTR sparing a lot of battle scars on the rear of it. He's pretty powerless at the moment to fight the Bentley. So he's going to have to just slot in and just accept defeat for now and just hope that he can pressure Susanna into a mistake. Anthony Cesana will be pretty happy with a top 5 finish for now. He's obviously still got a long way to go in this race, but currently 4th position. He started well down, I believe. Wish I could bring up the qualifying results without having to quit out. No, he started out as 6th, so that's not too bad. Ricciuti is still, he's not letting go. I don't think, with the damage that Ricciuti has on that car, I don't think he's going to be able to fight back on the Bentley down the Mistral Straight. Though as I say that, he just doesn't have the legs. And as if your race just cannot get any worse, looks like Matty Hewitt has picked up a drive-through penalty. Another victim of those super strict track limits. So, well, Matt Hewitt will have to do another tour of the pit lane. Hugely disappointing for Hewitt. Although down in 13th, I don't think he'll be too upset with that. Other than these two, the field has spread out. So, I'm just going to have to wait for something to explode like in race number 1. I have to say, even with a damaged car, Ricciuti is not giving up. Still tagging onto the back of the number 7 Bentley of Cesana. Just an unrelated topic, how good is low light racing, just with sparks flying out from underneath the cars? Wait until we get to a part of the track where you really cut the curb, really. Just as I bring it up, they don't want to cut the curbs. I think there's a bit of a switchback going on here, so Stefano Ricciuti has managed to get back around the Bentley of Cesana, but coming up to the Mistral Straight, and that Nissan is down on top end pace. Assume because of the damage on the back of it. So here comes Cesana again. They come down the Mistral Straight. In fact, yeah, Susanna just easily strips by the Nissan. But she's still not giving up. Just trying to work out a way to get around this Bentley and keep it behind it. And just over 12 minutes left in this race, so we are winding down. Fact, these two are actually starting to catch Alex Spinozzi in third position, so might be in their best interest to start working together. There's still plenty of time to close the gap on Spinozzi, and Spinozzi only needs to make one little mistake. Ricciuti thought about the dive, he pulled out the last second. He's going to use the superior acceleration off the corner of the GTR to range up beside the Bentley. I think they're still side by side. No, the GTR pulls in front again, but he's a sitting duck down the straight. So here comes Susanna again. He'll pull out of the slipstream, got up the inside this time. Brilliant racing between these two, it has to be said. So, again, no, just not enough straight line speed anymore for the GTR. That Bentley is just, that thing is quick down the straight. Ricciuti just looking left and right. He's just moving around. He's trying to pressure Susanna into a mistake that allows him to get a gap before the Mistral straight. Still losing time. Now they're starting to lose time actually on Spinozzi. As Susanna goes defensive. This might give Ricciuti a chance. 10 minutes to go as they cross the line. This isn't even the battle for first, by the way. This is the battle for fourth. Here comes Ricciuti again. He leaves it to the last second to duck out. Ricciuti is just showing so much aggression in the GTR. Really moving around in the mirror. Going again for the switchback, but Susanna's managed to stick the apex. This again, almost cover these two with a cigarette paper. Unbelievable racing, and Matt Hewitt again, another drive-through. Oh, jeez. Oh, it never rains, but it pours. Let's look out the back of the Bentley now. Not close enough this time for Ricciuti. See that GTR just range up onto the back. Oh, he's going for a bit of a run up the inside. Here we go, another send for Ricciuti. Oh, they just giving each other enough room, and Susanna will hold on to the position. That has made Ricciuti drop off the back of the Bentley, so Susanna should get a bit of a break. So Ricciuti with all the work again. He's dropped 6/10 with that failed passing manoeuvre. And Houlihan is closing on these two now. So, just under 8 minutes. It's going to be a big ask for Houlihan. He's going to have to hope that these two actually clash with each other. If he wants to... Oh no, Raschuti. He's just got a drive through. That'll be for track limits. So track limits strike again. So Stefano Raschuti, he's going to have to take a tour of pit lane. Hugely disappointing. With 7.5 minutes left on the clock, you'd absolutely be gutted. So this race, this battle for fourth is completely over. Huge shame. It's just starting to get good as well. Poor Ricard, overly strict track limits, ruin another race. So Raschuti will go into pit lane. That'll be absolutely disheartening for him. He put on a fantastic drive with a damaged car. So we say goodbye to the Nissan GTR in this battle. He's going to drop down just behind, I would say, Jackson Starrett. In fact, he's going to drop down behind Munro. Fortunately, been robbed of another race. Well, let's have a look at our leader. He hasn't had much airtime tonight. Fortunately for us, he hasn't been involved in a tight three-way battle like he was at the Nürburgring. So unfortunately, we haven't really been able to justify giving him that much time. He's just out there turning the laps, just like clockwork. Gap between himself and Izzad Farr up to 4.7, just over 4 seconds, I should say. 4.4 seconds now, so the gap has stabilised. Don't think Izzad Farr is going to really make much more of an impression on Andy O'Hara tonight. This race, huge shame because we were looking forward to a brilliant battle. But Andy O'Hara has really just turned it up another level tonight. I've got to give this guy some credit as well. He's driven from the back of the field. I'm going to guess that his qualifying time got disallowed. But, well, that car has not got a scratch on it. He's just 4.6 seconds off the leader, so that is a commendable drive from the 377 Aston. Right now, I do think that Izzad Farr has probably raised the white flag at this point. He's got an easy second position, good haul of points. No point throwing it all away to try and catch someone who is just in another league tonight. I am going to have to try and keep an eye on a battle that I'm just starting to brew. That's just down in 7th and 8th. Simon Phillips and Jackson Starrett. These guys have started to get a little bit close to each other. Starrett's got the headlights on. Wants to let Phillips know that he's coming. Just over the last few laps, I've just seen a couple of tenths come out of the gap between Starrett and Phillips. So, although I think time will be on Phillips' side, unless he makes a mistake. Tip it through turn 1 and 2. There we go. The headlights are flashing for Starrett. Putting as much pressure as he possibly can on Simon Phillips. Although Starrett misses the apex slightly. Leaders will be coming around to collect the white flag. You can still see the headlights flashing for Starrett.
Leaders on final lap now.
So there we go. Andy O'Hara and Brian Izzadfar will start the final lap. Massive gap between themselves and Alex Spinozzi. This battle is raging on. Just see a little bit of oversteer there for Phillips. That'll help Starrett close the gap just a touch. Jump on board the 911 Porsche. We'll have to swap over to our leader, Andy O'Hara, soon. Bit of a snap there for Phillips. That'll give Starrett a bit of encouragement. So they make their way up to turn number 3. Phillips is under all sorts of pressure right now. We're going to have to move on to our leader. So he's just starting the final few corners. So here's Andy O'Hara. Once again, another perfect drive from him. Again, he got mugged at the start. He missed the start completely. Matt caught a handy couple of car lengths, but it's not enough. Andy O'Hara will still come home in first position ahead of Brian Izzadfar. So well done to both O'Hara and Izzadfar. We're going to wait a couple of seconds while we wait for Alex Spinozzi. He's going to come home with a well-deserved 3rd position. Salvages something from the MCAS racing team. Well done to Alex Spinozzi. And he is very happy with it. So we're going to quickly swap back to this battle. This is the battle for 7th. They're still nose to tail. It's going to have to be a last corner lunge from Starrett. Hope he's brought enough postage stamps. Phillips is going to run the white line. Starrett will try for the switchback. Phillips was aware of it and he's just parked it on the apex. Starrett is not going to be able to take 7th away from Phillips, so well done to these two guys. Brilliant driving. And a bit of a celebratory bin, I think. I hope. And Jeremy Walter will come home in 11th position ahead of James Honor, so well done to all our drivers. So let's head over, see if we got any burnouts happening. No, it doesn't look like we have any burnout. Oh, God. There we go, we got a burnout. Thankfully, Walter was there to save the day. Oh, no, there we go.
Green light, show them what you
So
got.
that is the end of tonight's racing action. Certainly hope you have enjoyed tonight's racing. We're going to quickly have a look at what is coming up next on Go Race Promotions. I do believe we have a AK Gaming event, perhaps on Wednesday, hopefully a Wednesday, but definitely on Thursday night we will have the grand final for the Go Race Promotions Sim Sports GT3 League on Assetto Corsa. We're going to be running at Bathurst. It's going to be a very exciting race. It's going to come down between Vladimir Modretsky and Steve Duro, with Chris Raffalo being an outside chance of claiming the win. But that will be on Thursday night, and we hope you can join us there. Should be a very exciting night, and that will round out our GT3 League and start getting everyone prepared for the upcoming Super GT League on the Go Race Promotions Sim Sports league roster. But anyway, in the meantime, let's talk about tonight's racing. For me, drive of the night for race number 2, I'm going to have to go with Izad Farr. He's come from the very back and managed to keep the car clean for a start and finish within 5 seconds of Andy O'Hara. So that is a brilliant effort from Brian Izad Farr. So well done to him. Gets my drive of race 2. I'd love to hear from you in chat. What do you guys think? Let me know your drive of the race. I think an honourable mention for me has to go to Raschuti, driving with a damaged car and still battling tooth and nail with Cesana. Cesana also scoring a very respectable 4th position, so he's got to be pretty happy with that as well. But Alex Spinozzi, again, driver just needs to work on his qualifying and he'll be up the front more often. But he always comes through in the race, which is, it seems to be a trend for Spinozzi. So well done to Alex. So anyway, I think we are going to wrap that stream up. Thank you very much for joining us wherever you are around Australia and indeed around the world. Make sure you hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button if you think I've done a good enough job. And yeah, we will see you in the next stream. It'll either be Wednesday, but it will definitely be Thursday at this stage. So in the meantime, we will say goodnight and catch you on the next stream. Goodbye.